Welcome to Practoray. This video will help you on how to use and make the most of Practoray's advanced calendar. So, let's start with a quick overview. Ray's calendar is the most widely used feature. It makes your work significantly easier by allowing you to organize the clinic's practice and get a realistic view of the appointment schedules in one glance. The calendar also allows you to directly access many other features from it. When you open the calendar, the left side of your screen will list all the doctors that are a part of your practice. To check the schedule of any particular doctor, you simply need to click on the doctor's name and you will be presented with a filtered view of that doctor's schedule alone. Adding appointments on the calendar is extremely easy. For example, if a patient calls to schedule an appointment, you can go to the date they want the appointment for and click on that time slot. In the new window that opens up, you can enter the patient's details and save the appointment so that it now reflects on your calendar. All the online appointments from Practo.com will automatically be scheduled in your calendar and marked with a lightning symbol to indicate it as an online booking. It is recommended that all telephonic and walk-in appointments are immediately scheduled on the calendar so that patients booking online can have a realistic view of available time slots. On the right side of the screen, you will see all the appointments scheduled for today. This is your patient queue and consists of 3 status categories: check-in, engage, and check-out. Once a patient has arrived at the clinic, you can check them in by clicking on the drop-down menu next to their name and selecting the check-in option. When the doctor is ready to engage with the patient, you can change the status to engage by using the same drop-down option. And finally, once a patient is done with their consultation, you can check them out by once more using the drop-down menu. Making these status updates will enable you to track average and total waiting times and identify areas for improvement. You would have noticed that each time you checked in a patient or engaged them, the numbers changed accordingly at the color-coded status bar at the top. This allows you to have an accurate picture of today's appointments. For a comprehensive calendar view, depending on what you want to check, you can change the view to day, week, or month by selecting any of these options from the right top corner. By selecting the day view, you can see what the schedule is like for that day and plan new appointments accordingly. Using the week view is useful for when you want to scan the entire week's schedule to find empty slots for that specific week. The month view is best for when you want to plan vacations in advance. Here's how you can add appointments to the scheduler along with planned procedures. For all walk-in or phone appointments, you can add a new appointment by clicking on the relevant time slot on the calendar and adding the patient details in the pop-up window. As you type the patient's name, the existing patient names will be automatically suggested to you. If it is an existing patient, you can select the name from the suggestion. Else, continue typing to add a new patient. For all new patients, a new tag appears next to their name. You will also see a drop-down list of the doctors of the clinic. So be sure to select the right doctor for each appointment. The default doctor assigned is usually the doctor who started the Ray account and therefore will be listed as the owner. But this can be changed under Settings. We'll get to it later. At the bottom of that window, you will see an option called Planned Procedures. Here you can add the reason for visit, such as consultation, follow-up, or planned procedures. As you start typing the procedure name, you will get suggestions from which you can select the right procedure. After filling all the details, click on Save. If you missed adding in these details at the time of scheduling the appointment, you can always select the appointment from the calendar, hover over the patient's name and select the Edit option to open the pop-up window and add the reason for visit. Always ensure to click on Save after you have made all the changes. It so happens that sometimes you need to reschedule some appointments. If a patient calls and informs you that he is unable to make it to his appointment on that day, you can easily reschedule his appointment by dragging the appointment from its place on the calendar and placing it in the new date and time slot if it is within the same week. When you do so, a pop-up window will appear to confirm the action and will also give you options on whether to notify the patient and doctor via SMS or email. You can check the appropriate boxes according to your preference. Alternately, you can change the appointment time over the name of the respective patient on the calendar and clicking the edit option next to the time of appointment on the hover card. Once the appointment window pops up, you can change the date, time, or both and choose to notify the doctor and patient. Sometimes, the patient or the doctor is not able to make it to an appointment and will want to cancel it. If you are required to cancel an appointment, whether requested by the doctor or patient, you can do so by hovering over the patient's name and clicking on the cancel option next to the time of appointment. A pop-up window will appear and here you can choose the reason for the cancellation and whether and how to notify the doctor and patient. You can even opt to delete the record of the appointment from the calendar permanently or simply cancel it and have the cancellation appear on the home screen of your calendar for future reference. You can manage your patient queue smoothly with Race Calendar. Making these patient queue status will enable you to track average and total waiting times and identify areas for improvement. The status of each of your appointments for today can be seen in a color-coded manner at the right side of your screen. By clicking on the drop-down menu next to each patient's name, you can check them in upon arrival, engage them once they have gone into the doctor's cabin for consultation, and mark checkout post-consultation. The numbers corresponding to each status type at the top color-coded status bar will also get updated automatically. Let's learn how to add events on the calendar. If a doctor wants to plan a vacation with their family during the festive holidays and will not be available at the clinic for 4 days, they can block off those days on their calendar by adding an event. This will ensure that patients cannot book appointments with you when you are not available. Click on the relevant starting time of the respective day and from your pop-up window, switch to Event tab. This is right at the top of the window. You can then enter the name of the event like vacation, workshop, conference, etc. and modify the details of time and days as per the length of the event. You can improve your patient's profile by adding more information at any time. This is a useful thing to do as you will have all relevant patient information on hand and you can enhance your relationship with them by sending out automated wishes. Once you have a patient listed on your calendar, you can add more information to their profile. Hover over the name of the patient and on the hover card, click on the patient's name. A new window of all the existing information about the patient will open up. Here, you can add any additional details you want either by clicking on the Edit Profile button at the top right corner of the page or by clicking on any of the individual options present on the page such as sex, age, etc. Let's learn how to make changes to the basic settings of your calendar. This is useful for when you want to make changes to the default view options of your calendar. Click on Settings from the list of options on the navigation bar on the left side and select Calendar. All the modifications you make here will be reflected in your calendar view. You could start with changing the default duration for each appointment. You can set your duration from the drop-down list of time slots. Other changes you can make include changing the timings and days for each individual doctor. You can do so by clicking on the Edit option next to each doctor's name at the extreme right end of the screen. Not all doctors may have the same timings across all days though. In such cases, you can uncheck the days that have a different timing from the other days and by using the Add More Timings option, you can customize the timing for that particular day or days. Your experience with billing will now be even more seamless. On Practoray, it is now possible to directly add a bill to a patient's record straight from your calendar. All you need to do is hover over the name of the relevant patient, and when the hover card appears, click on the blue Add Bill button at the bottom right corner of the hover card. A pop-up window will appear, and if you had pre-entered the details of the planned procedure, it will appear on the window. Otherwise, you can select the appropriate procedure from the Search and Add Items tab. You can also apply discounts to each bill by indicating the percentage or total amount applicable against the Discount tab next to the bill amount. If any tax is applicable, you can select that as well. Alternately, you could choose to apply a discount or tax against the invoice as a whole, and this can be done by clicking the Edit button next to Total Discount or Total Tax respectively. Please note, if you choose this option, then any other discount or tax amounts you may have entered at the top will be affected as well. Click on Continue to make changes to the overall invoice. Once all the relevant procedures and amounts have been added, you can select a mode of payment. You can then complete the bill by selecting the Accept Payment option at the bottom right corner. This will now generate the invoice and give you a preview. Here, you can choose to print or share the invoice via email and finally collect payment. This concludes the calendar feature, and as you have seen, the calendar allows you to get so much done by staying on just one page.